Hello and welcome to another episode of the Socially Numb Podcast. I am your host, Richie Leahey. Once again, a week that I had time to play some video games to get caught up. The last couple weeks, I don't think I've been playing much. So this podcast, it's just going to be about the games I played. So the first one, I streamed on Twitch. My presentation, I need to work on doing some intros and some outros, but it's a little bit different than just doing the podcast because I'm actually on screen. So what's going to happen is I'll probably keep going in that direction. I don't know if it will turn into the podcast / where I use the audio from the live stream like I do at Southbound Sports or not. I haven't made that decision, and I'm going to stick with this format at least through 50 episodes before I make a decision. Now, I played Spy Chameleon RGB Agent, and this is something that might weigh into my decision. It's because I have a couple games that I have slated to beat that are from the PlayStation Plus network, including Spy Chameleon. And where my decision lies is I don't know if I'm going to keep paying for PlayStation Network. Outside of a few random games that I play online that aren't the newest games, which I don't have anymore. So one of those being, I got Star Wars near launch. When that launched, multiplayer online was definitely not worth it. I was very disappointed in that game. And the second one was Doom, which I found out that my PlayStation recorded a video clip of me playing Doom. I don't remember doing that. I threw it up on YouTube. I don't know if it includes audio or not. I didn't really test it. I just went ahead and exported it to YouTube, and it is live on there. I just haven't myself gone through. Someone did try to comment on it, but I think they're like the fake YouTube comments where it's like, hey, like my channel or come to my channel first, and then we'll definitely like yours. But they don't subscribe in the first place. So it's kind of just like, hey, they want someone to click. Which I don't care about all that internet politicking stuff. Unless someone reaches out in private, that's different. Reaching out in public in comments, that just seems tacky to me. And so right now I don't have any of those approved, which I did get a bunch of those once I started streaming. And on the Twitch side of things, I'm kind of disappointed because I went ahead and I streamed Spy Chameleon twice. And I also streamed, so I beat Spy Chameleon. I didn't beat it on camera because I had recorded, I've been trying to record like 20-minute sets. And so it abruptly ends my stream where I'm just like, all right, let's go. Because I had some family things come up real quick that I had to take care of. And obviously I'm not going to let my stream run in front of the computer or whatever. Now, I don't cut off any of the dead end. I mean, the PlayStation, to get the stream started, there's no like quit end button where like you can hold in the stream or the share button to end the stream, which is a little annoying because that means you have to go in the menu, then the menu shows the PlayStation whatever icon, which I'm sure they did deliberately because it's like free advertising for them. Well, on Twitch, I noticed I went ahead and I figured out how to get the other game that I streamed. So I streamed 3 games so far. Spy Chameleon, RGB Agent, I think is what it's called. Then I streamed Lumo, which is another PlayStation game. So PlayStation game, and I took off like the comments and stuff because like the video shows your comments, and I know like PlayStation, you can see it, but right now I'm only getting a handful of viewers. Like I think I had 30 viewers last time, or something like that, 39 maybe it said. So if I'm only getting like 30 viewers, then I'm not going to be able, like I don't have a comment section. Normally you have to have a hardcore guy that comments first. Usually it's a friend or someone. A lot of people don't know that. You get someone that comments on your behalf, or you comment and then some other people chat. But I haven't been messing with chatting while I play. I've just been playing in little bursts. So if I started a chat, maybe I'd get one going and it would be able to work out. Well, when I played the PlayStation games, they've been working pretty well. The camera, the PlayStation camera, and I'm definitely going to continue streaming to at least get my worth out of the PlayStation camera. Because I didn't want to get the camera just to have 2 or 3 streams and then give up on it. But I had started the stream Link Faces of Evil, which is a Philips CDI game. And I got to a place, was it like a third of the way through the game maybe? I don't know how far it was actually in the game. But the game started to get difficult. Now granted, the reason why, I was playing with a mouse. So the mouse, I had to drag my mouse to the left and to the right to get my guy to move. And then I had to click. So it is very, very difficult. I got in the groove of it, and I was doing really well until I reached a level in the mountains where I had these flying Charizards. And what I couldn't get the angle down for my guy to jump and shoot at the same time. He would do one or the other. And there were it was a little bit of platforming, and it was very difficult. Like, I couldn't get my guy to jump consistently, especially if I'm going back and forth. So Charizards, they kept respawning, which I'm going to refer to them as. They're like dragons or something. I don't know what their Zelda name is. But I had to keep shooting back and forth. And eventually, I had gotten to a point where I couldn't do both successfully. So I explained it on the stream, I think I had 3 streams. Only 2 of them I actually kept. I think the very first one I kind of threw out. So I'm going to go ahead, and I don't think I'm going to restream the actual whole game, but I'm going to go ahead because my save didn't save. So it's very frustrating. I had a feeling that this was going to happen with this crappy emulator I've been using, because the Philips CDI doesn't have a good emulator. But because the game is so rare, I wanted to have the footage up on YouTube of me playing so people could see what the gameplay was like. Well, I did some testing, and I tried to get the keyboard to work as the mouse. I thought, well, this is better than nothing. Well, it didn't really work. I mean, I tried to use accessibility things. Windows 10 is awful for that. Man, I couldn't figure out how to get half the stuff to work. And possibly this could be due to the fact that I am using a MacBook. So it's an Apple product. I'm using Boot Camp to install Windows. So possibly the hardware's a little bit different. The drivers are a little bit off. I mean, everything else works well. If I plug a mouse in, that works well. So I went ahead, and I've been frustrated with that. It's been over a month. I've been trying to get this game to work, because there are 3 Zelda games as I'm trying to beat Zelda, which the second game I'm going to talk about today, because I'm going to dive back into Spy Chameleon here in a little bit, is Zelda Oracle of Seasons, which is the second game I beat this week. I beat 2 games, and I'm getting ready, because I'm going to be going on a little hiatus, a little vacation here. So I'm going to have a little bit of extra time to mess around with some games. I don't know if I'm going to play on vacation. I don't know. I might come back with like 3 or 4 other games beat. I might come back with none beat. I also noticed over the weekend there's a game called Snake Pass for the Nintendo Switch that I was interested in, because there's not a lot of good Switch games. I figured it's an interesting, kid-friendly game. You know, I could bring out the Snake moves. I figured kind of slow. It'd be like a slow platforming game, a good learner game for kid. But I didn't want to pay $20. Well, it was basically on half off or 40% or something this week. So I went ahead and snagged that. As I'm getting ready, I was getting ready to debate if I should get ARMS or not for the big Nintendo game. Because like I said, I try to get, I don't want to hold it like a hard, fast rule, but I like to get a new game a month. And I don't mean I have to buy the brand newest game, like for the Switch. Just so that I build up my library. And after a while, I'll probably stop that, because I should be able to beat a game on Switch a month. Now, granted, I haven't even finished Zelda yet, because I've been distracted with these 3DS Zeldas and these Philips CDI Zeldas, and I've been worried about cloud saves, where all my progress could be lost if I sink 60 hours and am not able to beat the game. But anyway, I wanted to see how streaming I could get this Zelda Faces of Evil or whatever, Link Faces of Evil, to stream and finish the rest of the game. Well, when I brought up my channel, I saw that Twitch was running a bunch of ads. I had to sit through a bunch of ads just to see what videos from Zelda I had up. And so I go into my account and I look and I'm like, all right, well, why are they running? I understand that they need to run ads to get their thing going, but these are video ads. Like, I was trying to see where I was in Faces of Evil, and when I clicked my own video, now granted so I had booted into Windows, so I wasn't logged into Twitch. But I had to sit through a couple pre-roll ads just to see my own video. Now, I could have logged in, but I was kind of in shock that they would run ads on my channel, because YouTube does that if, number one, there's a copyright claim, or you just go ahead and anyone can go ahead and monetize it. So what that means is I can go ahead, and this is how my channel's set up. I know YouTube throws ads on every video. That's how they support a thing. That's probably what Twitch is doing here. But YouTube lets you put in your account. So if someone watches an ad on your channel, you get a percentage of that. So, like, I don't get much money from it, but it is something that's there. And so, of course, I'm going to sign up. Anyone who has a YouTube channel, it should sign up. You're an idiot if you don't sign up, because you're letting YouTube claim 100% of the money that is getting shown on your videos if you own them. Now, yeah, they have to fight copyright and people putting up videos that they don't own, like movie trailers, maybe movies themselves, or like supercuts of movies and stuff like that. And I found ways around it. You can kind of reverse the video. The audio seems to be the harder thing to fake. You can detune it or pitch it up. Not that I have any of these videos up, but I have messed around with trying to share a video to a friend and without getting a copyright claim on my account. And now I've just given up. So, like, there's better ways to share clips that you think are funny than to hurry up and throw them up on YouTube, even for a couple days, and then delete them, because you don't want that mark on your account, especially if I'm going to be streaming games. Well, I'm like, all right, well, Twitch should have a way then that I can monetize these. And so I do a quick search online, and I find it. Anyone can be a partner and get advertising money. But, and here's the but part, they pick if you're qualified. And they give some rules, which I think it's like 50 people watch your stream, which, like I said, I think I had 30. So I'm close there. You have to have an average of 3 streams a week. Like, you have to keep streaming 3 days a week. Now, that's where I have my problem. I could go ahead and try to build up, maybe advertise my channel a little bit more, because I don't even tweet on Twitter that I'm going live, because I've just been messing with it. Over time, yeah, I could start to throw one up and probably build up to the 50 people that they want you to watch, because I know people just troll Twitter trying to find new Twitch streams to watch because they're bored. And YouTube has a lot of different content, but it's different and it's harder to find and stuff like that. And when I'm looking at this, I'm kind of baffled, because it's disheartening. If I'm going to go ahead and live stream and you're going to show ads anyway and cut me out, then why would I live stream to your platform? Like, is it just because of the name? Like, people are going to watch gaming, they're going to watch it on Twitch? Is it that ingrained in our minds that this is a game-friendly platform? Because for as much crap as YouTube gets about not monetizing whatever, cutting subscribers out, content creators, hey, at least they are giving everyone a fair chance. Like, I didn't have to jump through any hoops. I didn't have to have a minimum amount of subscribers. And yeah, I've had my channel for like, well, who knows how many years now. 10 years, maybe less than that, because I did have a different one with a different Gmail, and then I switched after I graduated college, just, to cleanse what everyone tells you is bad for getting a job, having bad social media and bad accounts and stuff people can search up. So I made a new email account. But anyway, got rid of all that old garbage. That is a way that, like, to me, you're hurting your new people. Now, maybe, yeah, if you're just streaming for kids, and I know PlayStation, so I think it is a Daily Motion. I don't know. I thought that was like a different video thing. But PlayStation lets you automatically stream live to 3 different platforms. So, unfortunately, I might be closing my Twitch channel and just going with YouTube. Because if I'm going to only have a handful of watchers, what's the point of making it on Twitch if they're going to go ahead and keep all the proceeds themselves and not give me any money to at least start out. It reminds me of one of those jobs where they're like, hey, we're going to give you a trial period, no pay, which basically means you're never going to be kept after the trial period. They just want free labor for as long as they can get it. And that's kind of what Twitch is to me. Unless you're a big name or like if I would shoot up. But most of the stuff I'm trying to do is not in video game stuff. Most of my videos on YouTube that get most of my views are tech videos. All right, so now before I get into a little bit of the gaming, I had to take a break there. I'm going to stick probably with streaming a bit. Like I said, I'm not too much sure on what I'm going to do with Twitch or YouTube, but it's looking like my Twitch channel, I'm just going to go ahead and change to a YouTube channel. And the reason behind that, like I've stated, if they're going to run ads on the content, it's better for me if I at least get a cut of that. And I'm not sure. I feel bad for the other people that are doing that. Just because of my schedule, I'm never going to be able to meet probably the 3 gaming nights or whatever, 3 days a week. It looks like they want you on a schedule, and I understand that because it's free content for them. They make a ton of money off these gamers, and what they do is they promote it like, hey, you can make this much money, but most people don't. So doing it as a hobby, yeah, if I was just putting it out there or whatever, but that I can do that on YouTube. I don't need people to watch it live and actually chat with me. I'm pretty much just doing it for fun. So it doesn't matter to me if I just record it on my system and throw it up on YouTube for people to view later or not. But that's what I'm probably going to go ahead and do. And if you can hear that hum, some people are cutting some grass near me, so I'm going to go ahead and move. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and walk around so to get that noise out of the background. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully this is a little bit of a better location. So what I was getting on with the streaming stuff, it doesn't matter to me if I'm streaming live. Basically, I'm doing it for fun, throwing it up there, the same as this podcast. And I got a little bit of experience, which I'm hoping to go ahead and turn around and take advantage of on the Southbound Sports Show, which we seem to be doing pretty good with that, getting a nice live stream up, and basically taking advantage of what I've learned here on Socially Numb. I started out with the dad strength, using the shorter episodes, basically gave me a little bit of a chance to go ahead and get some experience with the shorter format where I am able to take a few more chances. And what I mean by that is I'm able to experiment a little bit with the sound, I'm able to experiment with my gear, with the format, and I did that on Dad Strength, and I was able to turn that into doing some video stuff, which now in turn went ahead to do Southbound Sports. Now my intent was never to just do sports only, which is why I keep Socially Numb active. I like the video game stuff. I originally wanted to do a lot of tech news because basically I just don't trust a lot of the stuff the media is putting out there. And it's a generation of fake news and stuff. But they try to fearmonger everyone into their technology. That, hey, we're getting hacked or hacked by Russians and stuff. That really it just isn't true. If you take some basic steps to protect your information, you're not going to be as monitored as what other people do. Now, if you wanted to look up illegal information or find stuff, yeah, you're going to be able to do it just because anyone can figure out what to do. So just protect yourself. Don't do that. Don't try to do illegal stuff, and you won't put yourself at risk. If you're going to look for illegal movies, say, for example, and you're clicking on a bunch of links that you don't know where you are just to try to find a free movie, yeah, there's a good chance you could get a virus on your computer. You should also encrypt all your stuff. But that's kind of where I think I'm able to get that kind of information across a little bit better just on Twitter or on YouTube. It's tough to do it on a podcast to kind of just talk about it. Now, maybe this will devolve again back away from the little bits and pieces of video game chat, and maybe this will just turn back into tech news if I'm going to be doing the live streams or whatever. But I don't know. I'd like to keep this going because it gives me something really to do each week, kind of talk. It gives me a reason to play some video games and stuff, and to set a piece of time aside to do that. Now, if I do live streaming, could I use the audio? That's what I'm toying around with. With Southbound Sports, what I do is I use the audio from that show as our podcast for the week, kind of like double dipping. I clean it up and the audio's much better. I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's much better than what's on the actual video for the show, where the video for the show is a lot of live stuff. So if you kind of talk over each other, I'm able to isolate that, cut it out, repiece it on the audio part, just because of the format of the show. Video, I can't do that because you'll see people talking, and if I cut their audio and like recut the thing, it's going to look weird. So the video is going to be out there on that show live. I thought about doing that a little bit on Socially Numb a bit. Again, might be able to hear some construction vehicles beeping. It's tough to do this outside, doing it on the go. I do know that the mic is a little off for this, so I apologize. I can't carry my good Shure microphone around. It's just, then I'm like carrying around a full rig, and I don't have a tripod or anything either. So that's what I'm looking at gear-wise whenever I record the show. So yeah, I apologize. Could it sound better? Yeah. Is it going to go from doing mobile recordings? Probably not. Now, with this, like I said, the show, it's been kind of an experiment all along, if I'm going to keep it in its current format or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep recording these, see what happens, and go from there. Now, getting on to the video games of the week. I know I went on a little rant there. Getting back into Spy Chameleon, actually a pretty fun game. I thought it was going to be fun. And again, just a public service announcement for everyone that doesn't know. If you look at free PlayStation games of the month, which I actually haven't for July yet. I meant to do it this morning before I recorded this. I just forgot about it. This was a Vita game for free. If you go on the website, you can redeem Vita games if you don't have a PlayStation 3 for your account and then download them on your PS4 if it's cross-buy. Or what I found, if you go and search, so if you look online on their site, it will tell you which ones are free and which ones are cross-buy. If I go and just type in Spy Chameleon, which this is June's game, so I'm sorry. I've been kind of doing these out of order, which is another thing I feel bad on. If I stream, I could just stream my first impressions instead of being focused on beating the games. But see, I like to beat the games. To me, that's the point of paying. You're paying for a service, I want to play the games and beat them. Do I download all of them? No, because some of them, they're free for a reason. They're not that good. But ones that I think look good or have good reviews, I'll download them and then I'd like to beat them. That's the point of me playing. So my idea is $60 a year or whatever it is, $50 a year. Most games are like $10. So as long as I play and download 5 games, that's fine. 5 to 10 games is awesome. That's a great deal. Now, PlayStation, they usually don't have a lot of games that I want to play. For the podcast, I've been downloading a lot of ones that I would never have done in the past. So that includes like Day of the Tentacle, which I've been playing. It's like a click-through game, something that I would play maybe on break at work if I was bored, like back in the day on the computer, back in like the 1980s, but they're trying to make it a console game. I understand they remastered it and made it a little bit better, but I've been clicking through. It's something you can just stumble through. I know there's some strategy because you're passing items back and forth in the future and present, but like for someone that doesn't really know, like I've never played before, so I don't really know, it's taken some time to feel around. So like that's a game where I can't really stream it because it's not like I'm actually running around and doing anything. So if I stream it and people watch, they're going to be like, this guy's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's doing. And they usually want someone that knows what they're doing, because I assume most people that search video games, they're stuck for a reason. And I've used it in the past for that reason. I'm like, okay, something's supposed to happen, and I can see if there's a glitch or not, or if I just didn't do something correctly or if I'm in the wrong spot. That happens whenever I usually try to figure out which chapter I'm on. So like Ninja Gaiden Sigma, I was stuck in a hard part and ended up being like chapter 10 or something. When the army guys showed up, I wasn't sure. I was basically hoarding my arrows when I should have just started shooting them and taking advantage of buying more. And that's how I ended up beating the game. But I wanted to see where I was before I jumped back into it, realized I was only half done. So then I went to the sequels and played backwards because I figured that first game was the harder game. And it was. So that's something that I would use videos for. So I know like other people, unless you realistically just like watching people play video games, which in the future, I think that's going to turn into VR. So if you don't have a personality, streaming your games, people aren't going to watch you play. They're going to kind of just, it's going to be like a talk show. The streaming is going to be VR, I feel. So you're going to be watching on YouTube, but you're going to kind of be sitting there on the couch with the person. And you're watching their virtual reality person kind of jump around or whatever. I don't know. But that's just kind of how television is going to change. And is it going to change faster? I don't know. But that's kind of why I'll get some more experience with YouTube if I'm doing that. It just depends on what I'm going to actually put out for the podcast that week. If it's going to be streaming audio, if I'm going to keep recording separate shows like I am now, or if I'm going to kind of do something where I put out a separate video and then use the audio from that, kind of like I toyed with Dad Strength. But I have to finish up that show because I think that show is going to end at 50 episodes. So once I launch the 50th episode, that show's going to end. I'd like to keep this one going, the podcast anyway, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, if I'm going to completely switch to video or not. But Dad Strength, I'm not even going to do any videos, because once you reach a certain point with your kid's age, there's not really any more dad tips I can get. My kid's going to be 2, so once they're that age, I don't have like new parenting tips. So I can't really give anything else out. But that's what I'm looking at. Back to Spy Chameleon. So I downloaded this game. It is really fun. I thought it was going to be. It's a game that I would love to see on the Switch. Would I pay full price for it if it was like $20 like Snake Pass? No. If it was on sale for 10 or less, would I get it? Yeah, because this is the kind of game that is perfect. And that's why I understand it's a Vita game. Perfect for the Vita. You can play on the go. The Switch, could I play it on TV? Yeah. Is it multiplayer? I don't think it was. I could be wrong. I think it was basically one player. A bunch of levels. You had to race through, collect flies, and not get caught by the laser beams. I only played through on normal. I understand there was trophies on hard. Again, I'm not a trophy chaser. So I just wanted to get in the habit of streaming. I figured it was a game, if I died a lot, people would learn and they could see my strategy or whatever if they wanted to watch, see my reactions. So I played that. Awesome game. Check it out. Really cool. I like the idea of changing colors to blend in. That seemed to work out well. I had to get used to it if I'm playing another game at the same time. I've been playing Uncharted 4 at the same time, which I'll save my thoughts on that. I was very disappointed at first because I really want to love the game, but I'm halfway through and I'm not feeling like I do. But I'm only halfway through. Hopefully the action ramps up in Uncharted. So in the meantime, I've been playing Spy Chameleon, Day of the Tentacle, trying to get that out so I can bring those in, and some other PSN games because I'm deciding, I think my subscription's up in November. So if they're going to be keeping it out, like last month, I think it was last month or 2 months ago, like a couple months in a row there, I really didn't want to play any of the games they were giving out for free. So if they're going to do that, and most of the time I want to play my Switch, like I'm feeling myself, do I want to play PlayStation 4? No, I really don't want to sit there and play. Nintendo Switch, I can play on the table. I want to play Mario Kart anywhere. Like, and yeah, that's going to run off, whatever. So maybe if I pick up ARMS or even a Splatoon, that's what I'm kind of deciding on, which one of those I want to get first. I've been thinking about getting ARMS. It's been getting great reviews. And that's like something, brings a little motion controls. Do you have to use them? No. But if I can get that to work out, I don't know. To me, it just feels like the Switch is a better game system. Like, I haven't wanted to play video games in a long time. I kind of got back into it when I was doing the podcast and a little bit before when our daughter was born. Because I figured that what I wanted to be able to sit there and hang out and play some video games, that gave me some free time. That's something I could do when I was quiet. So I got back into it. I had a backlog of games. I'm almost caught up. But not counting the free games, I'm probably have like 15 or so left. Games that I've purchased over the past 5 years that I just haven't played. And I have some Steam games too that I got in a bundle around that time for like $1 or so when Steam does their big sales. So I have those to play too. And so it's been a lot of fun getting caught up and playing video games. But now here I am with the Switch, and I'm actually wanting to. Now, remember, my daughter I got her the 3DS for Thanksgiving. I talked about it. Talked about going out and getting one Black Friday and all that stuff when the podcast launched. Well, I got Zelda for it, and I've always wanted to play the handheld Zeldas. There's been like 5 or 6 I haven't beat. I did beat some of them on a Game Boy Advance emulator. I think it was Game Boy Advance. Minish Cap, which one's that? I didn't play, for some reason, I didn't get Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. They're on my list of games to play. And I've been trying to put this list up on my website as I'm moving stuff, which, by the way, I think Leahey report on Medium has not worked out viewer-wise. Like, when I'm getting... So, just to throw some numbers out there. Normally, my website, and I thought it was the domain authority, but I'll get into that in a second. So normally my website gets a couple thousand views a month. So I go ahead, and it's random people, a couple hundred a day or whatever. It's not a big number. Sometimes it fluctuates. I can get up to like 20,000 or something. Well, I used to have it under rleahey.com. Well, as I started to do these, I wanted people to find me. I figured people might search Richie Leahey. So I bought that URL, and I switched all my stuff to that. And I still get about the same numbers. There was some drop-off, probably from domain, because I had rleahey.com since, like, I want to say college or so, like 2008 or 9, maybe even earlier than that. It was the first domain I bought, and I put all my stuff on there. Now, have I been consistent with it? Like most people just keep stuff up on their website, and that's it. They don't touch it. Well, I've been taking stuff down, putting stuff back up. Around 2012, I kind of cleaned my whole site out. It was kind of just like a source code repository, and I switched to GitHub recently to store all my old code, and so that's been obsolete. Well, I had some articles around that time that I put up, kind of like I wanted to start a blog where I blogged once a month. Not a big deal, whatever, just to keep people coming back and try to build up a following. This is way before I switched to richieleahey.com. Well, I went ahead with that, and my views stayed up. And my post, I decided, well, I'm going to move everything to Medium. I had a sociallynumb.com for this show, which Dad Strength was under this. I decided, well, when I move to Medium, I'm going to move my Dad Strength stuff. Well, I might as well move Socially Numb. It's easier for me if everything's in one place. Do people want to go to all these websites? No. I don't even understand. I don't even think people go to websites anymore, unless it's like a site like Reddit where they can share stuff. I don't think they do. So I go ahead and I set that up, and I'm like, all right, I want to go all in. Maybe we'll move these to Medium, and then I can just use richieleahey.com as sort of like a portfolio. I can put my source code there. Well, richieleahey.com was still getting a ton more hits than Medium. Just like I was getting like tens of readers, tens, on the same exact articles that I was getting a lot more. And even like the bounce rate was less, because you can put Google Analytics. I paid for a certificate so Medium would use my domain. And I don't want to say it was money wasted, but it was a good experiment, because I thought their domain authority, which I think because I paid for the SSL, I don't think I got their domain authority from that, because I was using my own custom domain, and it wasn't actually pointing at Medium. It was pointing at leaheyreport.com. Well, I've redirected that, and I've been currently moving the stuff back in. And of course, this time, because everything's organized like it wasn't the first time, it's going much faster. And the reason it's still not up is because of the show notes. I have to go back through and listen to these and throw up show notes. So eventually, everything's going to be back at richieleahey.com, just to throw that out there, and up to date. I have all the articles in. I have all the photography in right now. All it is just listening to the shows, making some changes to the show notes. I already have a bunch started. I kind of just have to track it down and start to do it. But it's a blog that goes back to 2013. When I started grad school, I kind of redid, instead of just having like nothing on my site, it was kind of just a resume at that point. I started a blog, and it's been articles floating around. I've been updating them, changing them. A little bit revisionist history, I know. But that's just basically, I'm not rewriting the articles, because some of them are like graduate school papers that I've put up. I'm actually just editing them to make sure there's like no spelling mistakes, because a lot of stuff I just threw up there in a beta phase without proofreading it. So some of it's been pretty bad grammar-wise, but it was usually on deadline when I did it originally for graduate school, because I figured since I'm doing the articles anyway, 1 or 2 a month, these big papers, I might as well throw them up on my blog. That way, if people are like looking for plagiarism or whatever, because you never know. Because a lot of stuff we did in groups, and it's tough. And I mean, I don't mind group projects, but like I know they want you, graduate school, they want you to get ready for the workplace, and so that works, group projects, because that's what you're doing in the real world. But whenever you really don't know the people and they have their own jobs and their own families. It's tough to get everything coordinated. But anyway, that's back to that. So yeah, I've been quite busy just in real world type stuff. So I haven't been gaming. Well, I got the 3DS and I got the 2 Zelda games. I don't know why I've never played them, because I basically had a hacked PSP, which I've used to play Dynasty Warriors. So I finally beat the Dynasty Warriors. I finally beat all my PSP games. So I had a couple DS games. I wanted to basically finish beating every Zelda game, which again feeds into, I talked earlier about in this show, the Zelda Philips CDI stuff. I wanted to do at least the official games if I could. I understand some people had trouble with Zelda's Adventure on the Philips CDI. It might not play. I might never get to play that game. But I figured for the 3DS ones and the DS, I can go ahead and get those games and start to play. And so that's what I've been doing. And I finally beat Oracle of Seasons. I remember when this came out, I had the Game Boy Color. I didn't get the Game Boy Advance. I went to the PSP when that came out, because PlayStation at that time, the GameCube was awesome when I got that after my PS2 died. I traded mine in after we got it repaired. I think I told that story before. But for the handheld, I wanted PSP because they didn't have the sports games, weren't coming to the Nintendo DS, and I didn't like the idea of 2 screens. And the Game Boy Advance, we did have one. I just didn't have the Zelda games because there were a bunch for GameCube. If I look at my list, I beat Wind Waker, Four Swords Adventure. There were a couple other ones. I got the Zelda Collection, which is how I beat, Zelda 2, Link's Awakening, or Awakening of Link, or something like that, which is the hardest Zelda game ever. And you're playing on GameCube. I don't think there was an emulated version, so I don't think I could save my state now that I think about it, because some people said they beat it with the emulator. I know I beat that on the GameCube. I know I did. That's the hardest one I've ever played. And I would sit with my friend. I know he can vouch for me. We went ahead and did this. We played together. Like, we strategized together. I actually played through for the last part. I know we did try to take turns to see if he could beat it, but I know I was the one that ended up beating it. And from that was it. So I know there are other Zelda games were out. I just didn't want to play handheld at that time, because when I was out and about, I mean, you're college age, high school age. When you're outside, you want to do other stuff. You're not going to be sitting around just hanging out. Where now, like, if it's winter and I'm at work on break, I can bust out a 3DS, walking around and doing whatever. I can go downtown and sit on the bus or whatever and play. Well, back in the day, I didn't have that, so I'm like, I don't want to play all these mobile Zelda games. It would be nice to beat them, because I did Link's Awakening was one of the first Zelda games I beat, well, besides the original NES game. So I jumped from that to the 64, and then I got the Game Boy Color, and I beat the couple Zelda games on that. I think there was like a Super Nintendo port, which I think was also, I don't know if that was on the collector's disc or not, but basically the only ones I'm missing now that I haven't beaten, because I just beat the Wii one last year, were the handheld Zeldas and the new Breath of the Wild and the Philips CDI ones. Oh, and Hyrule Warriors, if you count that, which I think they have that on the 3DS too, so I'll probably end up beating that. But Oracle of Seasons, I did like the game. Some of the stuff going back and forth across the seasons was kind of a pain in the ass, but I mean, so it did take me a long time to beat for that. I like how it's tied into Oracle of Ages. I just started that one. I fired that up because I got them both on the Virtual Console, I think. The boss was hard. I tried to beat the game using the actual in-game saves instead of the Virtual Console stuff from the 3DS. I wanted to feel the difficulty. It was pretty difficult. It sucks getting killed by a boss and having to go all the way to the back of the beginning dungeon. And then the last boss fight with the Onyx guy, you have to hurry up and get his moves down. But other than that, I had fun with that game. And so now it's going to be on to Oracle of Ages. So both games I beat this week. I know I usually only talk about one. It's hard to get into it. And that's pretty much it for this week. But Oracle of Seasons, definitely a fun game. If you can get it for $5, I think you can on the Virtual Console. Go ahead and get it. It's a fun time. The other game, Spy Chameleon, same thing. I wish they'd go ahead and put both of these on the Nintendo Switch. I would love for your Virtual Console purchases to be able to download on the Switch. I'm not holding my breath, and that's where once I beat Oracle of Ages, I'm going to kind of wait and see. because there are another ones. Wait, what's the one? A Link Between Worlds. I have to get that game. I could buy it on physical media for cheap. Way cheaper than you can for digital. I'm waiting to hear some news from Nintendo. If I buy the digital, am I going to be able to play it on the Switch? I'd rather play it on the Switch than the 3DS. The 3DS is a little cramped. We have the regular size one. We don't have the XL. I wouldn't even get an XL because I like the Switch that much. So, but that's it for this week. Again, just some random crap I talked about and a little bit about gaming, getting back into it. Going to be going on vacation, so hopefully I'll get the game some more, but I don't know. But stay tuned. If I decide what I'm going to do with this show, it's going to keep living in some form, whether if I'm going to be doing audio from live streams or what, I haven't decided. But come back, check back in, and I'll see you guys next week.